discourse today is Cosmological Argument. We want to know if God exists or not. We also dive into different subjects in the Bible and people's lives. Today in the studio, I'm with Mzwakhe Mbuli, the people's poet, a very, very well-known person in this country. He plays a catalytical role in helping musicians. Mzwakhe, would you please greet our viewers at home?
Greetings, compliments to the viewers. I am humbled and grateful to have this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Tuani Pume.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Mzwakhe. It's good to be with you in the studio, and we've been knowing each other for many years. You know, yeah. I think it's more than 40 years. We've been knowing each other for more than 40 years. Yeah. I remember you asking me to go to Sarel. You said, Reverend, you used to call me Sarel, yeah. You used to call me Reverend. You said, Reverend, you are going to lead this march. And you put me in the front to go and close Sarel. Yeah. So, and I'm with Mzwakhe Mbuli, and I'll be asking him some questions here in the studio. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you, and where do you want to go?
How do you start? My period of birth was a violent one.
Okay.
Because, for every action, there's a reaction. So when I was born, Sophia Town was about to be demolished. Mm. So the iron fist of the apartheid regime was actually threatening my parents and other residents of Sophia Town. Unfortunately, they had the last word. People, much as they said, won't move on Stepney, on Spola, but the Sophia Town was destroyed. I think even 2-3 days before the actual official date of the forced removals. So people were just caught off guard. And by then, they had no choice with rifles, guns. So yeah, furniture destroyed. Now, you can imagine...
Furniture destroyed?
Yeah, everything was destroyed. And some of the furniture that could be taken, because it was hurry up, pick up things, go, don't resist. When it happened, before the build-up towards there was resistance protests, but Mandela during that time are the ones, among others, said people should not resist, because it was clear people were going to be killed. So when the Boers came in to destroy and force people to Meadowlands, where there was no water, there was no electricity, just gang in, just an open land. So that is the plight, that is how I was born in that environment that it was just forced removals. So who started the fight?
You're talking about Sophia Town.
Yeah.
Let's help our viewers. Let's help our viewers. Where is Sophia Town?
Sophia Town is not far from where we are. Yeah. It's Mayfair side, okay. Newlands, yeah.
Newlands, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a soft town because it was that was the nickname, but it was a freehold right area where a certain overseas guy bought the land and then granted freehold rights to all people of different races. So it was a metropolitan of people of various races. Okay. So these guys, after an apartheid, was rule and divide, and they did not like the harmony of melting pot of blacks. I mean, there you had Dori Ratebe, Wushuma Sikela, the Manhattan Brothers. It was a place of music, and there was that vibe.
Manhattan Brothers. When you say Manhattan Brothers, you're talking about South Africans, right?
Yes,
a lot of people do not know that Manhattan Brothers are South Africans.
Yes, South Africans. Okay. They are not the American ones. Okay. Yeah. There you are. So I think it's the life at Sophia Town. There was that vibe. That is why your Dole Ratebe was like, people would think of like Marilyn Monroe. So unfortunately, people were forcefully removed. Because of races, whites, colors, people had to be separated from that unity and their loved ones. And as I'm saying, this was cruel because this was Group Areas Act, among others, that black people who are of African origin should stay far away from the town. So you can check where Soweto is, where Meadowlands is, because I'm from Meadowlands, Zola 3, Zola 4, so Meadowlands, Zola 3, Zola 2, and then Mden. But people were forceful, as I'm saying, not peacefully, forcefully removed. I know after many years, after post-democracy, people try to get back their rights and people go back there, but this is too late because people's lives were destroyed. So I'm saying
you were still in school by that time?
No, I was young. I was a baby. So I'm saying I was told that if people are saying I became a troublemaker in South Africa, who started the trouble? My parents could not have a way. They were bulldozed. So I was an infant. So those guys did not care whether they were little babies like ourselves. So and later, when I became an anti-apartheid activist, to a person referred to as the enemy of the state, it was something else. But yeah, I think I grew up Soweto most of my life. But what is very strange is that my father, of course, all the time would take me back to KZN because he wanted me to speak the KZN Zulu, the accent and all these things. So
which Zulu do you speak now?
I speak deep Zulu. I speak pure. I don't speak Fanagaloman Zulu. So yeah, I think I'm just saying that it's a northern KZN in Paul Petersburg. So our great grandfathers were not late when they were buried. Yeah, I think it's that is our Mbuli clan. And what is very interesting is that on the 22nd of January 1879, our great fathers participated in the Battle of Isandra, Mbuli, Mbuli,
1879.
That is the epic battle whereby the British army was defeated outside the British soil by men using warriors, spears and spears
against guns,
against rifles and guns and cannons. That was the biggest battle, embarrassing battle of the Zulu warriors under King Cetshwayo. So we are the descendants of the great because even Bogeringema used to be proud that some of his great-grandfathers participated in the Battle of Isandra. So I'm just saying with this thing, we are the descendants of heroes and I am Akwala. I think I'm glad I did not do the opposite of what our forebears did, because in this country I'm never looked and I do not epitomize a symbol of cowardness or cowardice. I'm this person who was prepared to face the might of apartheid regime, and with 6 different assassinations, I'm still alive. Yeah, but I'm saying, Dr. Tuane Pube, my history, I was brought up differently from the family of 10 by my father. He wanted to groom me, to wear shoes. Meaning he wanted to build character. That is me in the family. At some stage, obviously, it's martial arts because I cannot fight. I did boxing. Okay. Boxing was not enough. I can't fight the enemy with 2 fists. I must use elbows and, your mawashi carry and stuff. So I did not know that, writing poetry will make me the enemy of the state. And as a result, my home will be bombed, I will be detained, I will be tortured because of my stance, because it was wrong to discriminate us as though we are lesser beings before God. So I had to use my poetry. Although during my detentions I would be asked, why don't I write about the flowers and the birds and the lilies? So that would not have been significant contextually to write about the birds and the lilies and the daffodils whilst people were in prison, while people were in exile, people were dying in detention. So I'm like a mirror. I had to reflect what was happening in South Africa at the time.
What motivated you to write poetry?
I joined a group.
And when did you start this?
1979. I joined a group called Kubangano, a cultural group.
Yeah.
Kubangano is vendor in Chivenda. Me, I fell in love with the vendor.
With
language.
the vendors.
Yeah. So I think our group had poets, say drama, music. But remember the significance of 1979, 100 years of the Battle of Isandra.
Yeah.
Check the coincidence.
Okay.
Forget about my great-grandfathers.
Okay.
But I was recruited to become King Cetshwayo in a play of Victory at the Sandra. So because of my height and the voice, I became King Cetshwayo. I was recruited to specifically become King Cetshwayo. So that's how it started. But as we were students at the time, and police harassment forced some of the poets within our group to leave the country. Themba Dlamini is one of them, left for Angola. I think he died in 1981. So I had to fill up the gap of poets that left the country. So hence people will say, perhaps I became a poet by chance. It's not that. I was filling a gap, and then I had to also write poetry.
Yeah.
And
no, say that again. Kulimala kwengqondo, kulimala kumuntu.
Kulimala kumuntu, kulimala kumndeni.
Yeah.
Kulimala kumndeni, kulimala kumphakathi. Kulimala kumphakathi, kulimala kusizwe. So it's brain damage because it takes one piece like a brick, and it takes a brick to create a wall.
Where did you get that from?
It's my creation. I think it's creation. I think.
Did you read it somewhere?
No. The devil is a headhunter.
Yeah.
So for me, I thought, which is the most important part in the human being? There are a number of them. See, the tongue could be destructive. You've got the heart, the brain.
Yeah.
So I thought, once the brain is damaged, like you're mentally deranged. So I thought, let's talk about this part. And that poem is provocative because people are short-tempered at work, but at home, no. At home, short-tempered, at work before the employers, people are, domesticated, people are just cowards. So it was a poem about Magwalandini. I challenged people poetically to participate in the struggle against injustice, because you can't keep mum. You can't become a human ostrich and bury your head deep in the sand. So that's me. Through all my poems will challenge you. Even if a poem titled "The Day Shall Dawn," at the end I will say the doors of Robben Island prison shall become wide open. Okay. Always, I don't sound like people. Look, it was this one. People should not become offended. You asked me why. If to this day I'm still like that, I've not changed, not before and after. I tell it like it is. I tell the truth. I do not care about how you're going to feel when I tell the truth. I'm more concerned about those who will be deprived if I don't tell the truth.
Yeah, so
do I make sense there?
Yeah, you make sense.
Yeah, so I can't become an ostrich. I can't keep quiet. And people keep quiet because of fear. Human beings are conquered by fear. They are afraid of death. They're afraid of torture. So always, when I write, I know when you write, I don't know with other authors there is something that will make you stop and think. You can end up with self-censorship. So I was not prepared when I wanted to speak out against the injustice and end up saying, hey, but this line will make me killed, this line will make me detained, this line, when I write this kind of a poem, I will end up, or I will be killed in prison or detention, as it was the norm. So I would just say, as let it be. That is me. I remain fearless. I don't know how you write or spell fear.
We're talking about prison.
Yeah.
Were you in prison?
A lot.
For what?
A lot. I was detained. The first experience of my prison was said, my father was alive then. That's the year he died, 1975. You know, because of my height, apartheid laws or past laws, I was arrested at immediately after Court of Westgate train station. I was wearing Jabulani secondary jersey, and my high police approached me. It was before my age to take up a passport ID, and then I could not produce, and I was arrested and sent to Fear number 4, next to Constitutional Hill.
I know number 4.
Yeah, so I was arrested for that. I think, Helen Suzman used to talk about black people are criminalized because as soon as you are arrested for a past document, then you have now a criminal record. I was a student, but I was arrested for past.
Why didn't you prove it to them that you're a student?
Well, I did not have anything except to say, believe in my word. I'm even wearing a school jersey.
How did you go out there?
And then I think it's my father who came with my school documentation to prove. It's my late Mzwakhe, I think, niece who came with documentation that will show that I was still a student at the Jabulani Junior Secondary. It's called Itlabi today. So that's how I was left out. of that. But I was obviously arrested with mostly adults, and I was the youngest in that cell, for example. Yeah. So, but I think that's one thing that hurt my father the most, because I was his favorite. But now later I was detained repeatedly, because each time it would be before June 16 you would be arrested. In South Africa there was a norm every year before June 16, at the beginning of that month, thousands of people will be detained in the country, countrywide. Mzwakhe Mbuli will always be there. Okay. They would not leave me. And I used to say I'm responsible for the youth violence or the public violence because of my poetry, saying who's behind you, and then people believe in your violence. But I always said, take me to court, let people come and testify. They believe in violence because of me, but it was and at some stage I was detained. They played my poetry, my cassettes, the cassette. Then they said, what do you mean by this? There's something that Eddie's already used to.
They said, what do you mean by
these lines? They played the CD, the cassette.
Yeah.
At Protea, because Protea police station was the headquarters of the security branch. The line that says, if the God of liberation, the God of the poor, cannot punish Pretoria regime, he owes a special apology to the ancient people of Egypt, to Sodom and Gomorrah. And then they say, I must explain. This thing is self-explanatory, man. So they wanted me to explain, and then they'll beat me up. Remember, under Section 29, Dr. Pumra. When you're handcuffed, it's not here. It's always at the back. And then leg irons. And then you're naked. So in my case, I was always naked with my underwears only. And they would throw water, and say who's behind me. There was no one behind me. I think I developed courage in the sense that it means what I was writing was powerful, because they think somebody else is writing for me. Okay. So I thought it means I'm intelligent. It means I've marginalized the band education that was meant to domesticate us or to make us stupid. Okay, so then I would be beaten up. Now, you either have committed crime or sin. So when you begin to assault and kick me, what is it that I've done? That is exactly what these guys have done. And you must remember, they dealt with the whole body. It's one torture before the TRC that Benzine SAP cop explained. All types of torture, that blindfolding, the helicopter, the things they use on your genitals. In my case, I've gone through all of them. And I'm smart, I'm grateful to God, because here am I. Maybe some of those who tortured me over the years have got grave numbers. I'm alive. So I do not consider myself a victim, but a victim.
Was there a time Nelson Mandela visited you?
Yes. Madiba? No. You came to my house. You told people at the beginning of the show, we know each other for so many years. The Pinville Homes and Zone 4 was attacked with hand grenades. But it happened after the worst form of detention in 1988. They kept the promise. They said, vandaag is release to gaan. It was the day of my release, but you must stop this nonsense now. This time we mean it. Go. They said, stop this nonsense. What nonsense? So I must go and write about the better things, not the Mandela, all these things. And then obviously, 2 days later, there was a rally at Vets, BSS, SRC, so I was there with Mandela. So it means they said, okay, this one is stubborn.
I don't want to stop.
No. The house was attacked on both sides with hand grenades.
But your house?
Yeah, my Pinville home was attacked on both sides. So it's a long story because I'm here. I didn't know 2 weeks later. Furniture was reduced to powder. 2 weeks later, there was a letter from Nelson Mandela. I didn't know how, but Winnie Mandela obviously came. So I'm just giving you a story that how Madiba started to befriend me. Okay. It's through the incident that happened. And then that is one of them. Then can you imagine they bomb your house before you could call ambulance and this, but the police are there. Maybe they were disappointed. They wanted to check whether the injuries and stuff, they failed. God's miracles. Now, Madiba,
you're talking about God's miracles. We're going to talk about God miracles.
Madiba, when I was post-democracy, I was arrested. Post-democracy, I was arrested. Maybe I would say that.
Arrested for what now?
Bank robbery.
Bank robbery?
Yes.
Mzwakhe,
Yes.
did you rob the bank?
Yeah, I didn't.
You didn't rob the bank.
Without the
Let me ask you again, did you rob the bank?
I didn't.
Okay.
You know, and Mandela came to me in prison because of that.
Yeah.
You know, and look, I stayed in this country. If you have a best constitution, this country.
Yeah.
It was when the constitution was there. I was denied bail 5 times, 3 times High Court twice. I stayed with the murderers of Keith Chrisani, Janus Valus, and Tabitha Bruce, and Eugene de Kock.
In the same cell?
Yes, same section, CIMEX. CIMEX, me. The reason I was moved from CIMEX is because there was a hunger strike. On the 11th day, people didn't want to eat the breakfast meal, whatever, it was not perfectly cooked. I joined the hunger strikers on day 12. Citizen issued a story. Mbuli leads the hunger strikers.
Okay.
I joined the hunger strike on day 11. But then the headlines, the prison orders showed me newspaper. Mbuli leads the hunger strikers. So that is why, among others, because already people used to write that Mbuli is placed amongst the hardcore criminals.
Mm-hmm.
There were even 6 Congolese generals from DRC that were placed in our section during that time. Because the reason why I was placed at CIMEX, I'm told, Colin Chawuke escaped with his colleagues or his colleagues. Then when they moved us from the local central prison, they were supposed to take all these guys who were left behind because could not fit in the car of the daring escape. Okay. But even Mzwakhe was taken in. So people were surprised. Now you must deal with Colin Chawuke and others. Now why this one?
Why are you taking
Bang Tata. I was stripped naked. When you are admitted at CIMEX, you are stripped naked. And then they'll put something as big as this behind you.
So was there any evidence that you have robbed the bank?
No, there's no evidence. Okay, let me help you about that one. The person who arrested me, Fenter, on the eve of their trial, he committed suicide. He shot himself dead. A person who was supposed to come to court and tell the much in the world how he arrested me, he shot himself dead. The state witness, Alfred Ramel, I think he's alive. He took a lot of tablets as well. That is why I stayed 18 months on a waiting trial.
18 months.
Again, he took tablets, wanted to kill himself. That is him. Then whilst I was still there, then I appeared before the TRC. Bishop Tutu wrote a letter for me to appear at Church Square because there was a confession from Joan Fenter. Palanim Dale, former City Press editor, brought someone called Kwambane something who was saying was brought because he was involved in car thefts or hijacking.
Was that after Madiba's visit?
No, before Madiba's visit. So then this guy, because he was involved in all these car thefts and syndicates, so there was a deal that he must implicate me now in a robbery of a bottle store in Devil's Clove. And then there was another robbery that I was given now Renbeck, where I shot a certain Van der Merwe close range. Again, they said this guy who shot him was 1.4 in terms of height. I'm 1.9, and he's 24 years of age. So I appeared again there. So that is me. So I'm just giving you things.
So they were looking for a person who's 1.4.
Yes, and this guy was asked him, he made 3 statements that the person who shot him was shot. The person who shot him had posed. So they said, what about, why Mzwakhe, why brought him? Because they say perhaps it's mistaken identity. So I'm giving you things that happened to me. To this day, no one can explain why Mzwakhe was taken to CIMEX prison. Maybe there are other high-profile people. Why me in particular, people who are already convicted, I was taken there, right? This is your South Africa with your best constitution, because I'm talking about a situation where the constitution is regarded as the best, but me, I was placed there. And again, I was released 2003, 28 November. You know what happened in 2014? What is this year? I became the ambassador of Interpol ambassador in 1 year.
Which year?
2014.
2014.
Again, ambassador of South African Policing Union. In the same year, me, former bank robber, became Interpol ambassador, became South African Police Union. I'm still a police union until today. So I'm just giving you contradictions and a paradox, this country, South Africa.
So when did Madiba visit?
At Leeuwkop. I was moved from
Leeuwkop, yes, I remember.
I was moved from Leeuwkop to I was moved from.
And that was in the 90s.
Yeah. Then I went there. Dennis Bloom was the person in Portfolio Correctional Services, and then Winnie Mandela was always visiting me, and Helen Suzman. Remember, comrades ran away. Comrades ran away. It's only that Magoko, Helen Suzman, that was taking care of Mzwakhe, Mbuli and Winnie Mandela. These other ones, you know the story of Jesus Christ, the disciples just disappeared.
Ran away.
Okay, it's fine. Now, when Mandela came to me, there's a very nice story here. They came bomb sweep, or they prepare, okay, because we've got the area manager and there are various facilities, juvenile, and now they came, PP protection unit and stuff, presidential and stuff. And then I was informed a day after. I was informed the day before his visit, but the arrangement was made a couple of days earlier that Madiba is going to visit me. Now I'm not allowed to get things, etc. The visit was going to be midweek. That it happened whilst Dr. Mvume Danala was coming, Reverend Bishop Maho was coming, Bantu Olumisa, Delile. These people are coming. But there is, Madiba's visit was very something else. The prison warders knew Madiba was coming, so they brought in their cameras.
Their camera?
Yeah, so that they were going to take photos to Mandela. Okay. So when Mandela came in, it was with the account was Zelda Lichranze, with the bouquet, flowers, and a packet full of fruits. So it's like Mandela broke the prison rules. Midweek. This is the eve of my birthday. So when they brought in all these things, Mandela came to me at 12 until 2 o'clock, 2 hours full. The joke is, on his way out, only 5 minutes was given to prison orders to take photos. But with the prisoner, 2 full hours.
With you?
Yes, inside.
What were you arrested for this time?
Madiba, no, same, the very same case of Mandela.
Okay.
But Mandela didn't understand why I was angry. It's individuals. Why was I blaming, say, you see, the story is sad, drug related at the same time.
Did he stand with you?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That is why when after Mandela's visit, the media people, Mzwakhe must come out.
Okay.
Mzwakhe is not a criminal. Okay. It was clear now, parole. Mbuli must released. Yeah. Then, after Madiba's visit, everything just became, things were easy now. There was no.
How long did you stay in prison?
11 months, a trial, and 7 years.
How many people visited?
11 months and 7 years.
And 7 years?
Yes.
So 7
years. You think it's 11 months waiting trial and 7 years.
7 years?
Yes, 11 months, 7 years. 11 months on waiting trial.
And then 7 years?
No. 18 months on waiting trial and 7 years. And then I was on parole for 4 years. So when I was on parole for 4 years, after release, I would not go to Pretoria without permission of VAL. I needed permission. I was monitored for 4 full years.
So what were you doing when you were in prison?
I did a lot of composition. That is why my first album was titled Mbulism. I'm sure you know, I've been talked about Mina Bengeko, Nkoleleni Ngimbuzo, did Tony Blair and George Bush find weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and stuff. And then I came with a poem titled Abortionism, The Right to Life. There are people who says abortion, because they are alive. But if your parents aborted you, you would not be able to speak about being pro-abortion. So you are lucky that you are alive. Because if you are alive, you are abortion.